Yeah, it's the Weege Show, coming to you from my office. Not nearly as cool as Angel Stadium in Anaheim, but I have Kellen Brauer stationed there, so we'll get to the Keyed Show edition of the Weege Show in just a moment, covering actual press day riding on a Friday not rained out for the first time in 2023. Some interesting scoops coming your way because Kellen was working with our ace tester, Kris Keefer, looking at factory motorcycles today. We have the debut of the Supercross Futures program for the first time this year, which means for the first time ever, Haiden Deegan as part of the night show in Supercross, because Futures are now part of the night show, integrated into the Triple Crown, which will also make its debut for 2023 today. It's a lot of exciting stuff coming your way. So we'll get there, but first a shout out to our sponsor, the Honda CRF 250R and 450R. Point and shoot handling, suspension optimized for the racetrack, and the type of low-end torque to get you out of corners and help you get to the checkered flag faster. See the team in action. You'll see Chase Sexton and Colt Nichols on the 450. Jet Lawrence looking to continue his hot streak starting the season with 2 victories. And 250 East starts next week with Hunter Lawrence. So see the team in action. Go to powersports.honda.com for more on the motorcycles. Now let's go to Kellen Brauer from Anaheim with all the scoops.
Yeah, Weege Show coming to you live from Angel Stadium here in Anaheim. Anaheim 2 Triple Crown coming up. Thank you, Weege, for that intro, throwing it to me. And we're also throwing it to Keefer, because Keefer is here with me today. We were just filming a bunch of bikes today. We filmed, gosh, I don't know, what, 12, 13 bikes? It seems like everything. But what I wanted to hit you up with is specifically talking about Cooper Webb's bike. We talked to Carlos Rivera today. We also talked to Cooper Webb. And so far, so good this year, I feel like, for Cooper.
Yep.
You know, turned things around. He said he changed everything in the off season. So what kind of vibe and what kind of things was he saying to you when you were talking to him?
Yeah, it's cool. So we went over to Carlos, talked to Carlos a little bit, and talked about the changes that they made. And Carlos was really specific about with the suspension. Obviously, Cooper took the summer off, and he got to ride a lot of production bikes, and that opened up a lot of eyes, I guess you could so to speak, for Cooper, and how much more comfortable a bike could be. So as you guys know, factory suspension is stiff. It's supposed to be, but you know, the factory comes running 52mm forks. So they went back to work and tried to get Cooper more comfort in the whoops, because it's, I mean, you look at the main events, it's edgy, it's rough, it's nasty. So practice tracks sometimes don't get that rough. So I think they went to work and did a lot of suspension stuff, but they weren't really keen on talking about some of the chassis changes. But I do know some chassis changes were done over the course of off-season and linkage. So as you guys can see, the first 2 rounds have been really good. Cooper has been the best he ever has been in the whoops. He said that after we talked. So a little bit of time off and some bike help, I think, really going to do wonders. I mean, there's only one guy right now that's within 2 to 3 seconds of Eli, and that's Coop.
Yeah, in relation to those whoops, the first 2 rounds we've seen him blitz almost the entire time. They were jumpers at Anaheim, to be fair. But last week in San Diego, there was a mix. Kenny was jumping, but Coop was still blitzing. Do you think that that's something that as well we look at as a positive sign that he's figured something out to be a little bit more comfortable in the whoops?
Absolutely. I think when you see a guy skim and continue to skim, even though when they get nasty, is a sign that, hey, my bike is going to be tracking, it's going to be comfortable. But I don't like some of the people out there saying, oh, he's jumping the whoops, he must have a problem, or he can't go through the whoops. Sometimes, people, it's just faster to jump and it's more consistent. If you have ever been down on the floor after a main event, which I have last year, it is unbelievable. Hopefully we can bring some more of that to Racer X and show you some of those nasty things that are on the track. So but for me, you watch Coop, he's getting behind faster guys. He has a little bit more mojo, so to speak, and that comes from comfort. We don't know that because we're average dudes, but when you see guys that are comfortable, you watch guys like Coop. Is he top 5 in practice? Yeah. He's going to be good in the main event.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we have more news than just Cooper Webb today. Obviously, a lot has happened. We're here for a Triple Crown, so we're kind of dissecting how this track is going to race and stuff like that. We have a video up on our YouTube now that if you guys want to check that out as well. Tom Jurnett and myself, we went down on the floor. We asked these guys about this track. But the other unfortunate news so far coming out today is it just seems like bam, bam, more news. We have yesterday, Seth Hammaker, he broke his wrist/arm. He's going to miss a significant part of East, we assume. Then this morning, Joe Shimoda also broke his collarbone. He is going to miss a significant portion of East. And then Malcolm Stewart as well. We don't know why he's injured. but he is also going to miss this weekend as well. But Keefer, it sounds like you already have some scoops, it sounds like, about this PC ride and what we're looking at moving into
we don't want to get hit by this van.
We don't want to get hit by, we got a van backing up and trying to take us out. So, but yeah, moving east, we think we maybe already have some fill-in rides coming up for PC.
So poor Mitch Payton, first of all.
Yeah.
Like, he's got to have a heart attack with all these injuries. But I heard Chris Bloss will be riding the bike next week in Arizona. We got some more weather coming in Southern California on Monday, a Sunday, Monday. So I think some of the boys from PC are going to drive out and let Chris ride it. I think that might lead into something hopefully in the East Coast. That would be really cool. Not going to have much time on the bike. But man, it's going to be cool to see Zombie back on a full-blown factory bike, and you know he's going to kill the whoops. So I don't know, man. One guy's misfortune is another guy's treasure, right? So
yeah.
I think Chris Bloss has been keeping himself in shape. I've talked to him last week a little bit because I thought he might get the ride before Carson Mumford, but Carson got it, deservingly so. And now we'll see how Bloss does. He's a vet rider in the 250 class.
Yeah, so realistically speaking, when a guy like Bloss gets a chance like he is going to get this, potentially we assume on this PC ride, what kind of an uptick is that? Like, what is that confidence? Is that something that they're going to find way better comfort with a machine? Are we going to see 5 spots better Bloss? Are we going to see a lot better Bloss, or about the same Bloss?
I think we're going to see, I mean, not a ton better, but I know as a rider, we're all mental idiots, right? So just having that satisfaction and that security of, you're on one of the best 250s out there,
yeah.
That it can be able to do anything you want. If I need to switch anything up, you have that avenue, right?
Yeah.
Mitch will help you out, and I think it wouldn't be shocking to see Bloss in top 5 right away.
Yeah, well, we'll see that on the East Coast next week. We're going to be heading to Houston, but kind of back to the vibes here at Anaheim today. It's drier this week. So far, we've had almost no rain, a little bit of something, at the beginning of the week, but mostly pretty dry coming into Anaheim. And we saw already the dust kicking up on the track. I think we're going to see a much drier Anaheim this weekend. Would you agree?
Yeah, we already saw that here today, Friday. It's the dust is already coming up for the last practices, and more status quo for Anaheim. So to me, I think we're going to see a lot of the same stuff. I think it'll be Chase, Eli, Kenny will be up there as well, and we can't forget about Anderson, so it's going to be fun. I'm actually here. It's almost 5 o'clock and I'm still here. I can't believe it.
It's no longer daytime program. We're nighttime.
Just doing it for the Weege Show here.
Yeah, for the Weege Show. Well, it was a hotter day for sure. Very warm day so far here in Southern California. Interesting racetrack. Like I said, if you want to see kind of more of that, Tom Jurnett also has a video up kind of showing the racetrack off. We talked to some of the guys about the track. But it's going to be a good weekend of racing. I mean, Triple Crowns, where are you at with Triple Crowns too?
I like them as a fan, honestly.
Yeah.
I think they're fun. It's a new race. Every single gate drop, so you never know what's going to happen. As close as the field is right now, I would say Eli is a little bit better than some other guys, but we have seen Eli get bad starts, shorter races. I think we might have some different results this week.
And it's also been a tech frenzy today because so many guys are trying to tech multiple bikes for this Triple Crown. How do you think that is for the mechanics to try to deal with that? Because obviously they're frantically running back and forth between races, but maybe they even have to jump onto a different machine in between the races as well.
Yeah, we did some factory bike videos today, and I talked to a lot of mechanics, and they're not huge fans of it. It's just more work for them. The time is condensed, so a little bit more hectic. A lot of you guys come down the pits and you see what's going on, but behind the scenes, man, there's a lot of different things moving and a lot of moving parts. So for these guys, it's stressful. They want to do a great job and make sure the riders have what they need, and they don't have a lot of time to do that, and especially if the rider stacks up the bike.
Yeah. And lastly, the last thing we have to talk about, because it's maybe the most important thing in terms of YouTube stats on the weekend.
Oh boy,
Haiden Deegan is here, folks. Haiden Deegan is racing Supercross Futures. Woo! We just got done talking to his mechanic Brent Duffy, and I believe he was fastest in both qualifying sessions today. Definitely was fastest in the first one. So looking good so far this weekend. And we also know that he's riding the amateur spec bike, right, as his Duff said as well. So
big thing here today. I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know that there was a claim rule here in the future. So they're very saying amateur bike. So it's out there. They're wanting to know everybody. Hey, it's the amateur bike. There's going to be no Loretta's Part 2 here. And but Haiden was, when we watched the Futures practice today, he's head and shoulders above everybody else. So for me, it's going to be the Haiden show as long as he doesn't screw himself.
Well, the rumor is that if Haiden does well this weekend, maybe we see him next week in Houston. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what happens tomorrow night here at Anaheim. But that's it for the Weege Show, whatever you want to call it.
Brought to you
by Honda CRF 250 and 450R. So yeah, thanks Weege for throwing it to me. That's the story here of what's going on in Anaheim. Come on, Weege, come on back. Yeah, even Darkside misses you. Come on.
Miss you, Weege.
All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, that's going to do it. Big thanks to Kellen Brauer with the Weege Show, and also Kris Keefer, who helped feed Kellen some of the scoops on the racetrack like that wildly improved Red Bull KTM motorcycle of Cooper Webb. He is giving Tomac a bigger challenge than you think. You're probably super mad at me in the comments for not acknowledging the fact that Tomac has absolutely crushed everybody all year. That part is obvious, but Webb is definitely better this year than last year, and I, for one, am excited to see full peak of his powers Webb trying to figure out a way to dismantle Eli Tomac. He's won this title 2 times before, but this is a whole nother level of monster. But we know when Webb is at the peak of his powers, the willingness that he has to invent and engineer ways. I really want to see what he's going to try to derail this Eli Tomac thing. And then so many other riders, I think, due to get better. Ken Roczen, still sorting out the motorcycle, has quietly been very effective. Jason Anderson's got to get this thing back together. And really bummer news there with Pro Circuit losing riders, as Kellen mentioned, and then Malcolm Stewart out. They're saying right now just for the weekend and then further evaluation. I don't know, that's a bad sign to me. We might be missing Mookie for even longer, which is unfortunate because he was definitely looking like he had the speed this year to become a race winner. But then at the same time, when you're pushing to get that first win, sometimes bad things happen, and we did see some crashes in the first couple races. We'll see how it unfolds. Triple Crown, Futures, and everything else on the line. We'll be back after the press conference tomorrow night, and I'll tell you what the riders on the podium had to say with the Weege Show.